Do you still set goals? If not, why not? Is it because of bad experiences that you've had where you've set loads of goals and you've not achieved many or not achieved any? I've been through this before. But I believe it was Benjamin Mays who once said that the tragedy in life is not that you fail to meet all your goals. The tragedy in life is not having any goals to reach at all. And I've learned over the last 2 quarters some great principles which has helped me to achieve a lot of goals towards the back end of 2020. So I'm going to be posting a session which is going to be sharing some of these principles. And please contact me after, or even if you don't have a chance to watch the session, if you want more details on how to achieve great, exceptional goals in 2021 and beyond, do let me know. All the best. Let's achieve great goals this year.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm glad you're tuning in or listening to this session where I'm going to be taking you through setting and achieving great goals. Why am I doing this? A bit of context. 2020 was a crazy year. This video may be watched in 10 years' time and people may not remember why it was so crazy, but this was the year of COVID-19, and we saw some disruption that very few people would have predicted, that the whole world could come to a standstill so quickly and so soon. During this time, we was on lockdown. We couldn't get out the house much. We were stuck in our homes. I'm a Christian. I go to church a lot, but our churches were shut down. We couldn't even go to church anymore. Um, the conference I'm a part of, NEC Youth, have some great material on there. That was the main platform I was watching throughout this period where I couldn't go to church. And I was inspired when I saw a lot of these young people sharing the knowledge that they have, admitting they don't know everything, but sharing the little knowledge they have. And boy, have I been greatly blessed. I've learned so many great principles throughout this period, and I feel closer to God than before the actual lockdown and COVID-19 kicked off. Um, but then God inspired me. He said, "Okay, you're learning these great principles now. You have some knowledge as well. Some of the knowledge you've learned from those great volunteers on the NEC Youth platforms, which you can share with others as well. And there's some other knowledge that I've taught you also through nature, through people, through experience, life experience, and also through your studies of the Word. And I was inspired that I shouldn't be sitting on this knowledge, these great principles that I've learned that has transformed my life. I should be using whatever platform, whatever wisdom I have and sharing it with other people. And that's the reason why I'm sharing this content today. And it's about setting and achieving goals. Now, recently I ran a session with some family, some friends, where I went through this in a live session where we had a lot of feedback, a lot of discussion. And that's going to be present on the latter part of this presentation. But I didn't press the record button right at the beginning of the session. That's a goal I need to get better with this year in 2021. I need to, be more organized, I guess. But so because of that, I missed out some of the initial slides, initial content which I wanted to share. So I'm going to put this together now and talk you through those initial slides. And I'm going to join this and merge this into the other session with the group, which has a lot more group discussion and is very interactive. What I would recommend as you listen throughout this presentation is where I ask a question to the group and I have 60 seconds of silence for everyone to think of their own answers. I'm going to encourage you to pause the recording or take that time yourselves to stop and think and answer those questions yourselves. Because one of the great principles of learning, this is a natural, a biblical principle, it's a scientific principle, that the more active you are in the learning process, the more you'll get from it. So if you stop and you think and you agonize in your brain, oh, I wonder what this is, I wonder what these issues are, I wonder what these solutions are. If you take the time to think and agonize over that internally, and as you learn these new solutions or you hear these new principles, you help ingrain it inculcate it in your mind. So I'll recommend, as you get to those pots of marks and questions to the group, you stop and you pause it, think about it for yourselves. I think you'll get the most from from the session if that's what you do. Okay, so this is where I gave the introductions, went for the introductions. Obviously, I'll introduce myself. I'm Noel Jackson. I probably didn't even say my name at the beginning. But what I hope to get from this session is, and you're going to see shortly on the objectives page, is ultimately I want y'all to learn some principles which will transform you for the rest of your lives. And I don't want to oversell it. I don't want you to have too big expectations because that sets you up for disaster. But I think you can learn some great principles which will help you to set better goals and also help you to achieve those goals that you set. Okay, so that's my hope, one of my main hopes of the session. I want you to pause this video now and I want you to think as well. You've seen this post come up, I assume, on YouTube or Facebook or something, and you're intrigued enough to start watching it. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to think to yourself, what do you hope to get from it? Because if you think about it, and you engage and actually have a purpose and intention to get something from the session, it's more likely that that might be realized. Okay. So what I intend to cover throughout the session is we're going to kick off with defining a goal. What is a goal? We're going to discuss problems with goal setting. Now, I think it was this is a paraphrase quote, but I think it was Albert Einstein, I believe, who said that if he had 60 minutes to save the world, he would spend 55 minutes understanding the problem and then only 5 minutes on the solution. Now, we're not going to quite stick to that ratio for this session, but it is important that we understand what are the issues with goal setting? Why don't people achieve the goals that they set? Because when we really think about the issues, what our internal issues are, and what other issues are which prevent us from achieving our goals, we can have that aha moment when we hear some solutions and think, yes, this is probably going to help my previous issues I've had with achieving the goals that I've set myself. We're going to go through two main approaches to goal setting. We're going to delve into how to effectively set goals, and then we're going to discuss how to optimize our chances of goal achievement. Setting goals is only part of the process. The other side of it is actually achieving those goals. We could set great goals, but how do we actually take that next step of setting the goal and then achieving those great goals that we've set ourselves? And then also, what I want you to do, you probably won't have had the pre-work, so this is something I really encourage you to do for those of you who's tuning in on and listening to the session. Stop the recording, take the next 20-30 minutes, write down, think about what goals you want to achieve this year. Brainstorm. These can be things about all sorts of themes. But I really want you to take the time to think about that. What do you want to achieve this year? And this is because it's important you do that pre-work prior to moving on and going through this session, to make sure you get the most from it. Because the section is very interactive, and we're going to be improving upon the goals you already have. So it's important you think about what goals you have prior to going too far within the session. Okay. Objectives. What do I hope to achieve? So I want to make you all aware of the need to set goals. Maybe we've given up on setting goals. I think it's essential. I think it's important to optimize your success to set goals. So I want to make you aware of that need to set goals. But we need to do a lot of things. We need to work. We need to eat. Sometimes we need to go to hospital, but we don't want to do it. So I want to actually increase your desire, your appetite to set goals. So it's not going to be a burdenous process of setting and achieving goals, but it's something you actually look forward to. I'm going to want you to leave the session like, yes, let's set some great goals. That's one of my objectives. I want to provide you with the knowledge of how to set great goals and increase your ability, confidence, and give you the tools you need to set great goals. I have a desire to, maybe, I don't really, but most people have a desire to be a millionaire. That could be a goal. I could know the need I need to be a millionaire, for example, if it was a need. And I could have the desire to be a millionaire, but that don't mean I'm going to achieve it. So I want to give you the tools and the knowledge what you need, which is going to help you to be able to not only set great goals, but also achieve those great goals. I want you to improve the percentage of your goals you achieve. So, I'm going to kick off with a confession at the beginning. I've probably achieved 5% of the goals I set myself in 2020, sorry. Don't be worried, because that probably seems a bit scary that you're going to be listening to someone with such a poor percentage goal achievement. But the reason for that is because I never learned the principles that I have now, and I wasn't focused in at the start of the year, which I learned towards the end of the year. A lot of the great goals that I achieved this year were achieved towards the end of the year when I learned these new principles and started to apply these principles in my life. So I hope if you achieved 10% of your goals last year, 20% of your goals last year, I'm hoping it improves. I want it to be 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%. Could it be 100%? Let's improve on that. I want you to remember and apply the information you've learned. So it's not this ain't an exercise of me just wanting to listen to the sound of my voice and show off knowledge or anything like that. I'm not an expert in goal setting. I've just learned some principles which has impacted my life, so I want to share it with other people. But I don't want to just share it for the sake of it. I actually want it to be applied. I want, like I think it was Ben Carson, bottom of the class when he was age 13. And then he started to do things differently. He started to read more and do these sorts of stuff, and he set himself high goals. And then he became the first brain surgeon to ever do some sort of operation on Siamese twins. I can't remember exactly what it was. I want that to happen. Are you struggling in school? Are you struggling meeting your health goals? I want you to learn some of the principles within this session. I want you to apply it, and I want it to make a difference in your lives. That's one of the objectives of this session also. And yes, I was going to say maybe it's not as applicable for those who's tuning in and listening to this on YouTube. But you can share comments. If there's other ideas you have which can help people achieve their goals, share it in the comments and I will read those because I want to learn. I'm not an expert in setting goals or achieving goals. There's many of y'all who's probably been achieving great goals your whole lives, and you know a lot more than me. So share those comments, share those posts, and hopefully I could learn from that and improve the percentage of goals I achieve also. Okay. And I think this is the last slide I'm going to go through because I think the recording did kick in from around here. But the key thing which I mentioned on this slide is, a lot of research suggests that the more active you are in the learning process, the more you retain, the more effective that learning experience is. So, as I said, participate. Pause the recording when you get to the bits where I'm asking questions. To be honest, I had to rush through the session, so I didn't pause as much. So you might see on there when I get to talking about, certain SMART goals, for example, where there were some questions I had which I didn't bother to ask. Pause it. Ask yourself the question: can you think of a specific goal? Can you think of a measurable goal? I'm talking ahead of myself, but participate. Think for yourselves. Think as much as you can, and then when the answers come, it really does help to retain that knowledge in your minds. Which is important if you're going to then apply that knowledge. So participate, apply yourselves, pay attention. Probably not the best thing to do to watch this recording if you're in a noisy setting and you're distracted and you have other things you're doing. Just put it on in the background. I think it's useful. It's important that you watch this recording in an environment where you can pay attention and also be prayerful. For those of you who are Christians, I'm a Christian. Pray to God before, and in fact, it does come up here, I think, where within the session I said, let's pray. Pray to God before this. I say, God, I know you have great plans for my life. I know you want me to achieve some great things. And I'm listening to this session with hope that it's going to help me to do that. So please, Lord, help me to know what goals I need to achieve in my life. Help me, Lord, to have the knowledge, the wisdom, the determination, the passion, the motivation to then achieve those goals. Give me the mindset, the focus, so I could understand the principles you're trying to share with me and help me to apply it thereafter. Prayerfully ask God to help you throughout this session to understand the principles and then to apply it thereafter. And that is a key thing which is going to help the objectives of the session, my objectives of the session, and hopefully your objectives are in tune with those objectives to be achieved. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much. Enjoy the session with my family, my friends who did tune in for a live session. I really hope it's beneficial, and you'll be blessed and transformed by the knowledge and the information that you learn. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye bye. That's fine. It's just the introduction, so and hopefully that is recording. Okay, so we've kind of went through the introduction, so we're going to crack on with some of the learning content now. So the first thing to do, yeah, we've done the prayer. Okay, yes, almost in the introduction, sorry. So it'll be good. So I did ask everyone to do some pre-work, to think of some goals, so at least 5 goals that you wanted to achieve this year, and 5 goals that you want to achieve next year. So it'd be good if you have those in front of you, because we're going to be delving into that individually throughout the session. And it'd be good to have a pen or paper or something that you can make notes on. You know, if you make notes on your phone, that's fine. And don't worry about the last one. I did kind of say it'd be good if you're always on laptops, but it's too late for you all to change if you're not on laptops already. So, okay, pre-work. Okay, so what should I do with this? So, I was going to say I've all done the pre-work, but I don't want to embarrass anyone, so that's fine. If you haven't done the pre-work, I'm just going to give y'all probably 2 minutes. 2 minutes to, especially for those who haven't done the pre-work, just to write down some goals that you want to achieve in 2021. And so you don't have to say if you've done it or not, but I'll just give you an additional 2 minutes. It's quite important. We are going to be improving upon goals throughout the session. So it'd be good if you do have some goals, if you haven't been able to draft some and have them ready before the session. So just things to bear in mind as you're writing down if you need to. You know, some of my goals that I have for this year was about being a better family member, so being a better husband, a better dad, better brother, and those are themes that might be relevant for some of y'all as well. Health goals, you know, want to get in better shape, be healthier, eat better food, exercise more, to be a better Christian. That's some of the goals I have. You know, God has been very gracious to me and He's blessed me a lot, but I know that I could be do a lot. I could be witnessing more. I could be more obedient to God. Character, you know, what are the things that we don't like about our characters? Are we ratty? Are we negative? You know, there's various goals I have about improving my character in 2021. Career, some of us might have career ambitions that we want to achieve in the next year, and so on. So there's some themes. If you haven't got any goals, hopefully that's given you some things to think about, which might trigger some ideas about the sort of goals that you might want to think about aiming to achieve in the next year. Okay. So hopefully, as I was talking, you've drafted some goals if you haven't had them already. But I'm going to continue now. I don't have my time. Okay, so we have quite a. I think you teachers on the call might be aware of Mentimeter or whatever. There's many different tools you could do on there. So I'm going to ask, but for those who haven't used it, it's very simple to do anyway. So I want every single one of you to go to menti.com and type in the code below, okay? And we're going to have a quick activity to do. Can you refer me to one sec? Okay, so go to menti.com and then type in that code. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, I've just saw the message, one of you. Okay, I do apologize. Okay, I'll try and do that going forward. Okay. Okay, yep. So go to menti.com and type in that code. Let me just minimize this. And where am I? So I'm going to go to myself. Menti.com. www.menti.com, sorry. Yeah. Can someone just tell me if they found it?
Yeah, I found it, and it's asking me to put some words in that comes to mind.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Or did you bring the food?
Have you not typed
When I
it
hear the
on
word
the internet? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it as well.
This, sorry, when this leaves, sorry. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, great. Yeah. So, so the activity is, I want y'all to write down as many words as you can that comes to mind when you think of the word goal or goals. Okay, so it's like ideally one words. So like target comes to mind, for example, or whatever. So every single one of you individually, just write in as many words that come to mind when you think of the word goal or goals. And it's not necessarily just synonyms, words that mean the exact same thing as a goal, but even what emotions come to mind when you think of goals. Is it positive emotions, negative emotions? What words come to mind when you think of the word goal? Okay.
Are we putting it on the phone or are we writing it down now?
So you type it on that website. Once you've put in the code, I think there's something you write on there and you press enter.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What's the code, please?
Okay, so it's 24. So 24 64 356. So that's 24 64 356. Okay. Let me see. This should be okay. Perfect. It's working. Love it. So I'm going to give you a minute. Hopefully, you're all in there. Hopefully. And just, whatever words come to mind. I see 5 words on there so far. But what words? Okay, wow, yeah, a lot more has popped up now. Okay, just going to give it another 30 seconds or so. Oh, wow. Y'all are creative people. Okay. Can you see the screens? Can you see the word cloud being developed?
Hold on, I haven't submitted mine yet. Hold on.
That's
Keep,
cool.
no, it's just this would trigger ideas for those of you who might be struggling.
I don't know. Do you have to submit
I
your
did that.
answers in order?
Mine, keep
Oh,
going.
yes, submit it. Yeah, you have to
Oh,
press
I
enter or
submitted.
something.
Okay.
You have
Oh,
to
you
press enter.
submitted.
I put breathe.
Sorry, can I do mine?
I'll take you back off. Did y'all see the word cloud when I just put it on the other screen, though? Did y'all see a word cloud?
No,
You didn't? Oh, okay.
no. Okay.
Y'all see a word cloud at the
Is there
minute?
another
I think
question?
I'm
Is there
still.
another?
Wait, I'm still typing. Should I stop typing now?
No, you can keep typing. That's fine. Keep typing.
Oh, actually, sorry, I can't see it.
Okay.
Sorry, it's because I'm using my notes on my laptop.
Okay.
So
So you can see the
I'll
word
go
cloud,
to
yeah?
the video. Yeah, I can see the word cloud.
Okay. So let's have a quick discussion on it then. So the biggest words, obviously, for those of you who's not familiar with word clouds, the words that are bigger are the ones which has been mentioned the most often. So achievement, target, success,
I put successful.
successful, exactly. Those are the big words that seems to be standing out. Can anyone see any emotions that's coming out?
I tried to think of some emotions and I couldn't even think of any.
Okay.
It's,
Okay.
I just see the word emotion.
It's it's patience and emotion, but no, it's not, is it?
The same with mine is one.
I wouldn't think so, but it's
Happy. I see
appropriate.
happy.
Huh?
I see
Oh,
happy.
there's happy, yeah.
Happy,
And proud as well.
proud.
Oh,
Okay,
proud,
good.
yeah.
So that's quite interesting. Some people, when they think of goals, it's a negative reaction. Sometimes past experience where they haven't achieved some of their goals has left scars. So then whenever they hear of, oh, I want to set you a goal, they feel negative inside. So it's good, I guess, that not many people on the call have that response in terms of that negative reaction. But even if
hard work.
Yeah, hard work, exactly. But even if you do sometimes, I think some of us who are in the working field, we may have been set goals which were impossible, which can have a negative response, cause you to stress and so on. And stress is sometimes associated with goals as well. But even if you do sometimes have those emotions, negative emotions, there will be some things we'll be discussing later on which will hopefully help you to deal with that. So So Ronaldo, goals. Okay, I get it. Yeah,
You know,
interesting.
it's funny, as he was talking, I saw someone add the word depressed, so I don't know. I don't know if
Okay.
they was inspired by that.
Okay. Oh wow, Richie. So it is we're gonna need a new meeting. Okay. Just one thing. Yeah, unfortunately, we ain't blessed with the finances to afford a premium Zoom package, so we might have to set up another meeting if this one cuts out. Okay. And we'll just have to join back in quickly. But I'm gonna crack on. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
No, this meeting was like.
Okay. Defining a goal. Defining a goal. Do want to think for 30 seconds, and if someone who's brave enough wanna say how they would define a goal, how do you define the word goal? How do you define it? Anyone? So think about it. No one talk for like the next 30 seconds to give everyone a chance to think about it, and after that, if someone would come on and just say how they would define goal.
I'd say it could
Wait,
be.
wait for a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, just 15 seconds, yeah, or so. 1 sec. Okay, go on, Deirdre.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'd say a set of desires. What would I say again? A set of desires with plans in place to achieve them.
Interesting. I like that. Anyone else have a similar or different?
I would say, what would I say? Setting a list of things that you want to achieve by a certain time, and you work towards it.
Okay. Yeah, I like that one also. Okay, so I've done a little bit of research, and there's various definitions. Things that seem to stick out is aim, purpose, targets. The one that I preferred from when I looked on the internet was the one from Collins, which says something that is your goal is something you hope to achieve, especially when much time and effort will be needed. But ultimately, it's something you want to achieve, something you're aiming to achieve, and often it takes effort to achieve those goals, to achieve a goal as well. But yeah, thanks for your contributions. Okay, so this is a little bit of, to kick off, just for me to do a bit of mathematics. So I kind of want everybody, if possible, I don't want you to mention what your 2020 goals were, but I want you to come on, to unmute your mic and basically say how many goals you had last year, if you can remember. You know, if you've just got the 5 from last year, that's fine. So it's, you could have 5, and then how many of those goals did you achieve? Okay, and I'm going to do a bit of statistics. So as I said, for me, I think I've achieved 5% of my goals. I want to get an outlook on the call in terms of, of the goals you had, and I'll try and work out the mathematics of what the percentage is. But you don't have to say specifically what those goals were. So anyone, we'll probably have a few of you, 5 of you if possible. You don't have to be everyone. I guess just some of you, if that's okay.
So you want us to give a list of goals that we had last year, or an amount of goals?
An amount. So the number. So I had, for example, let's say I had 20 goals. I achieved 2 of those goals.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so I've made a list. From what I can remember, I had at least about 7 goals.
Okay.
I possibly had more, but I've had about at least 7. I have achieved 2.
Good.
What's the next question?
That's everything. That's everything, Nikki. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. 2 other people, if that's okay.
So let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7. So I've got 7 goals on my list here. Well, let's say 6 goals on my list, and I think I have achieved, say, 2.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Deirdre. And 1 more, if that's okay.
Well, I personally, I only actually had one major goal, but it was one that would have required a lot in order to achieve, but I did do it. I got reasonably close, but no, I didn't.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. And we're going to get onto it very shortly, but just on that one. So something I've learned, and there's going to be a very inspirational quote that we're going to look at shortly. But even though we don't achieve all our goals, so for example, I had some goals this year. Now, if I hadn't set the goals, I've achieved 5% of my goals, for example. Now, if I didn't set those goals, I would have achieved 0%. I wouldn't have done the things which I did, which enabled me to achieve those 5% of goals. So don't feel discouraged if you don't achieve all your goals. That's the biggest issue, is not having goals at all you're trying to reach. But by having a goal and trying to reach it, you at least have progress often. So yeah, that's good. Okay, perfect. So, Richie, what do you think I should do? Do you think we should go into the next session? Or keep going till it cuts out? You're on mute, Richie.
I was saying I think we should continue until it runs out, but
Okay.
send the link to Venny so she could distribute it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Okay, just last question, if someone could answer. Are there any goals you had which you aren't sure if you actually achieved it or not? I'm not sure if you get the question, but are there any goals that you had which you aren't sure if you actually achieved it or not? And if someone have got a goal like that you're willing to share, can you just give me an example so for others to understand that? Because sometimes we set goals so generic and loosely that you're actually not sure if you've achieved it or not, or there's other reasons as well. So does anyone have a goal like that?
Oh no, I'm talking too much. I'll let somebody else talk. Sorry, see, that was one of. Sorry, see, that was one of my goals for 2020 to be more vocal. You see, I think now I've gone too far.
No.
You've
That's
achieved it.
Go on, Deja.
Yes, I think I've got at least one goal, which I'm not sure how much I have achieved it or not, and so I've still got it on my 2021 goal list. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah, great. So an example for myself. So I had a goal of becoming a better parent this year, for example. Or no, actually a better goal. I did talk about this with Benny yesterday. So being healthier this year. Let's say I had a goal, for example, of being healthier this year. Now, I weigh a bit less this year, but I'm not as good at. If I'd have played Richie in tennis, for example, he'd probably thrash me because I'm not as fit as I used to be, even though I weigh less weight. So, have I achieved my goal? Am I healthier? I've lost more weight than what I had last year, but I'm probably less fit. So that's just an example of one where if you don't set goals specific enough, you could be unsure if you actually achieve that goal. I want to be a better Christian this year. How can I be sure if I became a better Christian? Is it if I've witnessed to more people? Is it if I've been doing my daily devotions every day? Sometimes goals can be set quite loosely, and it makes it don't give you that certainty as if you're achieving it or if you're working towards achieving it. That's just an example.
It's about to cut out. So I've sent the link to Danny.
Okay. So have you all received a new link? If that's go on. So okay. So what I was going to say, it's probably good. Probably it'll be useful if we go into the next session. I think Venny's distributed it to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll continue on. Okay.
All right then.
All right. Thank you. So let me do this. So I'm gonna stop sharing. And then we're ready to go. I'll enter that and then share my screen again. Yes. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Not yet.
Oh, no, okay. Okay, share now, I'll do it now, okay. See my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. I'm going to continue on now. So is it important we set goals? We've had a discussion already. I think we all might be believers in goal setting, which is good. And when I say that, so some of us achieved less than 10% of our goals we set ourselves last year. Can you each think of a reason why one of those goals wasn't achieved and write it down? So I know some of us, all of us, I believe, had goals that we didn't achieve. I'll give you all a minute to think about why we didn't achieve at least one of those goals. And then also to think about what are some other reasons, as many reasons as you can, why ourselves or other people does not achieve their goals, okay? So it's kind of think about it for a minute or slightly more than that, and we'll have a quick discussion on that. Okay, it's key we understand what are the problems in not meeting our goals in order to have that aha moment when we hear some potential solutions. Okay, I'll give you a minute. I'm looking at I've kind of planned out where I should be at this point in the session to see if I'm falling behind. I will make sure we finish promptly as planned though. So where are we? Should be here. Okay, cool. Okay. So anyone want to say a few things, a few reasons why we or others don't meet our goals?
Consistency.
Consistency.
Sometimes we don't achieve the things that we set out to do because we're not consistent. We'll start off like with a really high spirits and a really good drive, and then somewhere down the line we lose that momentum, and then we kind of fall back into old habits.
Perfect. So thank you, Cynthia. Appreciate that one. I'm good. Well, something to bear in mind. I'm probably going to ask someone to come back on it as well to think also what leads to that inconsistency, if that makes sense as well. But someone else might say as well, but if not, someone jump in and mention that as well. But more ideas. Any other reasons?
I was just going to say, I think it links quite a lot with motivation as well, because a lot of the time you find that you start off with high motivation as well, but then over time, when the novelty wears off, then you find that you don't feel that same sense of motivation. So then you can find that you start making less progress and being less consistent as a result.
Okay, like those two. That's really good. Thank you.
I'd say that less planning in how we approach the goal, and when you don't plan it, when you have a plan, it's good to incorporate like a kind of a backup plan, so that if it's going, to keep you on track or for you to be able to check yourself. Because it's good to have a plan, yes, but one that has some flexibility within it, I think.
Thank you. That's a hell of a lot in there, Mai. So flexibility, a lack of flexibility can lead to not achieving our goals. Not having thorough planning can lead to it. And what was the other thing? And also not having a backup. And also you mentioned about not having something to check, like almost check progress, can lead to goals not being achieved. Okay.
I think you mentioned it earlier. But just the whole idea of not actually, almost setting a goal that is too large, too wide in scope. You have to sometimes narrow it down so you know exactly, you can measure exactly what you're trying to achieve. But if it's sometimes too wide, and it can almost leave room for you to interpret the goal however you like. And then you can only, when you get nearer to the end of the year, then you start realizing, well, have I actually really achieved what I set out to achieve?
So sometimes, as you say, if a goal isn't specific enough, I guess that could lead to the goal itself not being accomplished. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Also, another issue I find when I'm trying to achieve goals is because you make, let's say, several goals, and I'm impatient in a way, like I will try to do them simultaneously. So let's say you try to do like 5 goals like every day, rather than tackling one at a time. So when you like, it takes so much like energy and so much out of you and so much effort that you end up like achieving none of them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That's another great one as well. Having too many goals, and also focusing on too much things at the same time. Those are some issues that often prevents us from achieving our goals. Yeah, great point. Also,
I think. Okay, go on.
Oh, sorry. I also as well not having a clear direction, because sometimes like, oh yeah, I want to do this in 2000 or whatever, but we have no clear direction of how we're gonna go about achieving that. If your goal is to lose weight, okay, so what are you gonna do? Are you gonna have workout 3 times a week, 4 times a week? You're gonna what are you going to do? Are you going to change your eating habits? Like, you have to think about how you're going to go about doing it, because it will just be an idea. And you have no means of actually achieving it, because you haven't actually done the groundwork to actually achieving that.
Perfect. Thank you, Sanity. That's really good, and we are going to be delving into that in detail later on, because that's really a key point. It's one thing having a goal, but if you don't have a how to achieve that goal underneath it, that could lead to the goals not being achieved. Okay.
So
One more.
I think for me, just thinking, me personally, I am very ambitious. So often I set a very big goal, which is not easy to achieve by any means. But I think sometimes it's important to break down our goals. So you may have one big goal that is the ultimate of ultimate goals, but then the closer you get to that goal, there's lots of sub goals that's kind of all linked to achieving that bigger goal. So for me, that kind of helps me to know how. I think there's different levels of achievement. I feel like the more of those little sub goals that you're achieving is ultimately going to help you to achieve that ultimate goal, if you like.
Perfect. So,
I think for me, all of the reasons that were given before, I've faced a lot of them. I've experienced a lot of them. Another one of my other reasons or issue is getting sidetracked. So you've got a goal in place, you're working on it, and then something else comes, and you think, oh my gosh, I have to deal with this, or and then you put your attention to it and put your energy into that, and so then you take your eye off that goal. Another thing, one of my other key things I think is that I focus on trying to achieve too many things at the same time. And that is something that I really need to work on this year, not multitasking so much. Even if I'm at home, doing trying to get things done. I'm in one room in 1 minute, next minute I'm in another room doing different things. And by the end of it, you're tired, and you just think, oh my gosh,
Of course.
So yeah.
Sorry, I know that you said that was the last one. I realized through this pandemic that changes in environment is a real big factor that can affect you from achieving certain goals, because just when you get used to your new normal, and then you could get something taken away from you, also you've got to adapt to still meet your schedule, if you like. And I think that can be quite testy and quite challenging, and can, thankfully I've been able to adapt but I think for a lot of us it's very difficult to adapt to changes in environment.
Perfect. So 2 things there, which I'm.
Flip it. Oh, sorry.
Go on, Mai.
Oh, can I just slip this in? I was thinking that sometimes I think it's important to personalize your goal. Like tailor it down to suit who you are. If you have a good idea as to who you are and how you operate and stuff like that, And so because of, if you personalize it in a way, sometimes that can be the kind of infringement to keep you within your bounds.
Perfect.
Of achieving it.
Yeah, look, I completely agree. And the great thing is everything mentioned is things we are going to be hopefully be talking about some potential solutions to these issues. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you all so much. That's really good. The reason why I put these things in is because the more, as I said, the more active we are in the session, the more you get from it. So by you having to think deep in your minds, you know, what are the actual problems? What problems do I face? What problems do I face? It's hopefully going to open up the space in your mind for when these solutions come to stick, to remember them and also apply them. So great. Thank you so much for your contributions. Okay, now we are going into the meaty bit in the next 5 or so minutes or so, but I want to kick off with some quotes about goal setting. There's so many great quotes out there about setting goals, and I thought that some people might be against goal setting, so these was going to be my kind of gotcha quotes to say, look, got ya. You see, goal setting is good, but everyone kind of agreed that goal setting is good already, but it's inspirational quote.
Can I just say quickly that I personally struggled to do the pre-work, and the main reason I struggled to do the pre-work was because I realized that I was thinking about what goals did I set at the end of 2019 to 2020, and I realized I didn't really do that exercise in a real magnanimous way. But what I realized is, so I was thinking, wait, have I really got 0 on my list of goals that I aim to achieve this year? But then I realized that no, there's a lot of things that I achieved, but it's just I set the goals in the short term. So I realized even though I hadn't set long-term goals at the beginning of the year, throughout the year I'd set a lot of short-term goals, like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to get involved with the racial impact and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of things that you set in the short term, but it's like I think sometimes people may be more anti the long-term goal setting, but everyone does the short-term goal setting on a daily basis.
Completely agree. That's a really good point. And also, just bouncing off that, sometimes we subconsciously have goals, even if we ain't even articulated it. So I think all of us would want to be happier next year. Would want to, but you may not have put a goal and written down, I want to be happier in 2021. I want to have less stress in 2021. You may not write it down, but we all have even subconscious goals. But I do feel if we do, you're more likely to achieve goals if they're not just subconscious, they are actually robustly set. And we're going to delve into that shortly. Okay, some quotes about goal setting. So have a quick read. I'll read it and then think about it. And if someone wants to kind of explain what they think it's saying, okay? The trouble with not having a goal is that you spend your life running up and down the field and never score. So think about that. To be honest, when I first heard it, I had to think for a while to kind of think practically what it means, even though it sounds very profound, but what does it actually mean? And can I have an example of something of what this is trying to say and the importance of goals, if that makes sense? Anyone have an example or could explain what this quote is trying to say?
So I was just thinking from the perspective of setting what I call like ultimate goals. A lot of these ultimate goals that we set are not easy to achieve at all. So it's very unlikely that you'd actually achieve those goals if you do not set them in the first place. sort of thing. So for instance, like doing a master's or all these sort of things are really, really challenging. I feel like you're more likely to go through life going through the motions and not find yourself doing a master's unless you decide, I want to do a master's. You understand? So it's not an easy thing to do. And it is something that requires a bit of thought. So if you don't end up setting that goal, then you could just be finding yourself almost like running around the field, doing all of the easy stuff in life. but not actually scoring that major accomplishment as a result. So that's kind of how I kind of see the quote.
Thank you. Go on.
It can also be like you're going somewhere. Okay, you know you're going somewhere, but you don't know exactly where you're going. So how are you going to get to where you should get to if you don't know where you're going? You're just going to be taking different turns, going on all these roads. You don't know where you want to get to in order to get there, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know if I've said anything more on it, but it's like, you know, a very quick example. So even some people in the working field, a lot of us, you know, especially, actually, maybe be careful what I say, but I know from the Caribbean backgrounds, and you know, a lot of us we work really hard at work, and we put our 100% in, and you know, a lot of people do that anyway. They put their 100% in the work that they do. But you could put 100% in your work, but you don't progress, if that makes sense. And you know, I have spoken to people where they work so hard, but they haven't got a goal. What is the next career step? And because they don't know what it is, they're not tailoring their work to help them achieve it. You know what I'm saying? So they're running around aimlessly. They're working hard. They're running with passion, but because they haven't got the goal, they're not advancing those steps, if that makes sense. And obviously, we know that it's not just about that. Sometimes you do have your goal, your aim, your strategy, but you can still be held back. But yeah, that's just another example which kind of is kind of getting across what the quote I think is trying to get across. Another quote. Goals. There's no telling what you can do when you're inspired by them. Goals. There's no telling what you can do when you believe in them. And goals, there's no telling what will happen when you act upon them. So think about that for 20 seconds. And if someone wants to kind of say, what is this quote trying to say? Or what are the few things it's trying to say? But just 10 more seconds or so, and then I'll invite someone to give their opinion on that. Okay, thoughts. What's the thoughts on this quote?
So I think immediately what kind of comes to mind is actually seeing goals as opportunity, ultimately. Opportunity is endless. Like, there's so much different opportunities. And I feel like what the quote is saying is that when you get, when you set yourself a goal, for example, then it can inspire you to do great things with the opportunity in front of you. And, you know, I think it just kind of links in quite nicely with the whole idea of the belief. And once you actually do it, I think there's so many things that I set as a goal that can seem somewhat impossible, can seem like a really, really difficult goal. Yeah. But the more you actually get involved in the process of putting it into action and trying to work towards it, then you start to see just what you're capable of, and it can really, you know, feel great.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. It's coming across as if the person is thinking that having goals is like a trigger to your skill set that you may not be aware of. You know, so it's like you might have a skill set that you, if you don't have a goal, by having a goal, it triggers you to tap into that sort of resource.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Yeah, just quickly on this one, I'm going to say very true. This tackles many of the issues that some people have why we don't achieve goals. If you're not inspired by your goal, you know, if you're you need to get a job, but you don't want a job or something. You know, I don't. That's probably a good example. But if you're inspired by a goal, you actually feel inspired by a goal, it's more likely that you do it. And then there's no telling what you can achieve. When we look at the greats in the world, a lot of them were inspired, and that's what helped them to get to make the achievements they made. In terms of believing, if you have been set a goal you set a goal, I'm going to get first, I'm going to get an A star, but you don't believe you're going to do it, how likely are you going to change the processes underneath to do something, to achieve something you don't believe you can actually achieve. So believing in the goal is an important step in terms of achieving it. But also, as the whole thing is trying to say, is there's no telling what can happen with it. If you're inspired by a goal, you know, President Obama didn't think former president at 18 probably that he'll be the president one day, but he was inspired by other goals that led to him eventually becoming the president. You know what I'm saying? If you have big goals you're working towards, there's no telling what you can achieve. And yeah, that's something I think the quote's trying to get across.
Can I just say a quick thing that came to mind?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a process. This whole thing coming from this person's, from Jim's perspective, it's like a process. So the process starts with first being inspired, having this desire, and having this strong desire, and you know, and then the next step is believing that you can achieve it. You know, believing in that it is achievable. And then the final step is putting in the work because of this desire and this belief that you have. So I think,
Perfect. That's really good. I've never thought of that. I don't think it crossed my mind, but yeah, it's literally like a process, as you explained.
It's so funny because it literally came to my mind about the whole concept of the process as well, because I was thinking that sometimes when you set the goal, it's like the more you work towards it, then those certain things come. So belief comes. Okay, maybe I can actually do this. And then onwards, it can motivate you to continue doing it. So you can almost see how you can grow more and more as you are consistent, as you work towards achieving that actual goal.
Perfect. Thank you. This one. It must be borne in mind that the tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach. It must be borne in mind that the tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach. Thoughts? Anyone?
I think when you think about goal setting, it means to set yourself a goal, it means you have to have some hope. And if you haven't got any goals, then I feel like maybe it's because you see a lot of limits and a lot of barriers that's stopping you from doing certain things, that you just choose not to set them. So I think that's why the author of the quote is saying it. That's what is the tragedy. Is when you actually haven't got any goals whatsoever to reach, because there's a reason why you're not setting that at the end of the day, and it's probably because you don't actually believe that you are capable of achieving a lot of different things.
I know for me, this quote does resonate with me a lot because, as I said to you at the beginning, I've achieved, I think, 5% of my goals this year. But wow, those 5% has made a vast difference in my life. So if I didn't set those goals, I wouldn't have the great benefits and blessings that I have from setting those goals. So is it a tragedy that I've only achieved 5% of my goals? It would have been a tragedy if I didn't set any and I was as I was at the end of 2019. That would be the tragedy, that I've made no progress in a year. So it's about one of those things. Don't feel downhearted if you don't achieve your goals. Set big goals, set appropriate goals, which we're going to delve into now, and you know, that can lead to progress and success, even if it's not a perfect 100% record of goal achievement.
Can I just ask? Can someone stumble upon success without having a goal? Because some people's life are structured in a way that goals they're already preset goals. You know, it could be within an organization, it could be within a school system, you know, that the goals are sort of preset for you, and you just kind of stumble upon them in a way because of, say, if you're a high achiever in school, it sets you towards that goal that you're not setting for yourself, but it's a goal set to achieve. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It does.
Yeah. I believe that that's possible, but I think to be on the safe side, it's always good to have your own goals, to have a plan, just in case that's not there, or whoever set that goals for you, or add those opportunities for you, they pull out. You know, I think it's important to have something in place that you're working on just in case.
I think the distinction there is really about the idea of success. Yes, of course, you can be successful without setting goals, but I think by setting goals, you can be more successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I completely agree. Thanks for all those contributions. And I also do think, without delving into it too much, that even those people who may not have written down goals, I think that for you to be successful, you often would have subconscious goals. Would I ever get a first in a... Well, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to delve into that too much. But yeah, I agree with every point said. I think the more to enhance your success, goal setting is important. Okay, and just I think 2 more quotes. Yep. Okay. You have to set goals that are almost out of reach. If you set a goal that is attainable without much work or thought, you are stuck with something below your true talent and potential. I have an example of this, what I'm probably going to say quickly is, you know, if I did set myself the goal of losing a pound of weight in 2021, so I want to lose a pound in the whole of 2021, I think I'll achieve it, but I'll still be unhealthy and unfit. But by setting ambitious goals, you know, I know people who they have set themselves goals to lose weight, and now they're running their own YouTube channels with weight loss regimes. They're helping hundreds of people a week. But if they didn't set an ambitious goal, they wouldn't have got there. And this quote is kind of emphasizing the importance of not just setting goals. You know, I have had circumstances where someone says to me, I've achieved all my goals in the work context. I've achieved all my goals this year. And when I look at the goals, I'm thinking, well, no wonder. It wasn't really hard they weren't really that hard to reach, you know, because I didn't meet my ones, but, you know, but you understand, but it's important, not just about, yes, I've met all my goals, set ambitious goals, set goals that are almost out of reach. And you could be surprised by about your potential and your talent and what you can do when you put your mind to achieving something. But the counter side of it, which we're going to go into shortly, is if you set unrealistic goals, that can have negative consequences as well. Okay, so ambitious, but not impossible. Okay, as we'll delve into shortly. Okay, I'm going to read a quote from Messages to Young People. And the context of this quote is to do with character building. But I think it's applicable for all goals. So I'm just going to have a read through it. And then this is going to move us on nicely to our next segment, where we're going to delve into these goal-setting approaches. And links into our previous quote. So many whom God has qualified to do excellent work accomplish very little, because they attempt little. Thousands pass through life as if they have no definite object for which to live, no standard to reach. Such will obtain a reward proportionate to their works. Remember, you will never reach a higher standard than you set. Then, set your mark high, and step by step, even though it be by painful effort, by self-denial and sacrifice, ascend the whole length of the ladder of progress. Profound quote. Yeah. But it's talking once again about setting high goals that might take effort, but the great thing that we know as Christians is that God can help us walk that ladder of success. He can be by our side on that journey as we try to reach those hard goals. Okay,